everybody. Welcome back to the Ultimate Tribute Band podcast. My name is Roger, and I'm actually really excited for this episode because this is kind of different for me, and I'll explain why in a couple of minutes. But before we do anything, I want to introduce my two guests this evening, and this is the nighttime broadcast. So if we work blue, don't just let us, it's just the way it's going to be. I've been drinking since 4 o'clock this afternoon. So
I'm on energy drinks. So
there you go. Either way,
that's gonna be a whole other
LaCroix.
There you go. You guys will be fast and energetic, and I'll start slurring halfway through the podcast.
We're all working for sponsorships. Here we go. So, please.
We've got Carrie Rappaport and we've got Khadejhia, and I want to make sure I do say your name at least this one time. Khadejhia Kassenbrock.
Yes, that's
it. And they are
nice
both.
Job.
You got it. They are both from Babes Against the Machine, which is the world's only all-female tribute to Rage Against the Machine. So I'm really stoked to have a really kind of niche specialty band like this. Carrie is your front person, and Khadejhia is your guitar player. A couple of the other members weren't able to make it tonight, but no problem. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna do this as a threesome. I don't want to say as a threesome. That's not cool. We're gonna do this as a three-way. No, that's not good either.
No, it's not good either.
We're gonna have fun.
Wow.
And we're gonna talk. We're gonna have a good time. So I wanted to. So thanks to the two of you for being on the show very much. I appreciate you guys being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
You got it. Okay, so I want to obviously get into the band specifically and the tribute specifically, but Carrie, go ahead and give me kind of just your background. What's your story, other bands, other music world, your regular gig, whatever you want to share with us. And
like me personally? Me?
Yeah, you.
Well,
yeah.
Hell, okay. I'm born and raised in Pennsylvania, so I'm an East Coast transplant. Got out here in about 2005. Did a whole bunch of covers back east. I was a full-time musician back east, and did worked with a band called Juiced, and we toured a lot in Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, New York, Florida, and our thing was heavy alternative rock music. So I'm a really good mimic at this kind of stuff. So we were doing Korn, Disturbed, Rage Against the Machine, Linkin Park, Pantera, and that's sort of where I found my niche. So I really wanted to do original music. So at that point in time, covers were the only game in town in Central PA, and I was getting antsy, so moved out here to Los Angeles. It was between New York and LA, and I was like, well, if I'm going to spend that kind of money for rent, I'd rather have it be 70 degrees and sunny for 300 days out of the year, thanks. So moved to LA, got in a few original bands, got some placements, which was nice, and movie stuff, TV stuff, and then got married, got out of music, paid attention to my husband's career for a long time, and then got rid of that. So we're in the process of we're in the process of separating, but he and I are best friends, so it works out fine. But a couple years ago, just decided to try music again, and just kind of took off.
Talk to me about the you mentioned the mimic thing. So talk to me about that. What do you mean when you say that? What is the mimicking that you're doing?
Well, when I was a little girl, I found I had the ability to be able to imitate objects and people really well, and I wanted
objects.
Like a I don't know, like a jar opening or something like that. Sort of like
the sound of objects.
The sounds of objects. I can be a jar.
I was going to say, how do you mimic a jar? How do you mimic? Yeah, I got you. Okay, the sound.
Isn't it clear?
You had an ear for sounds and voices.
Yeah, my dad was a DJ, so he was a big to do in Erie, Pennsylvania, WJET, in the 60s. So in the early 60s. So if you actually watch that movie, That Thing You Do, when the Wonders, when the Oneaters, when when the Wonders get on stage and they get introduced by so and so from WJET FM, that would have been my dad. So
nice. Okay, gotcha.
But I thought when you had to be a DJ, you had to have Casey Kasem's voice.
Sure.
And there weren't very many female DJs out there, and I knew that's at the time what I wanted to do. So I'd go around, the house singing, talking like this, and announcing, "Here's Mom and Dad reading the paper and drinking coffee." All right, and so, I was on stage as a little kid doing dinner theater and musicals and whatnot. So, wanted to be an actress, wanted to be a rock star, wanted to be all that. So, when it came to doing covers out east, I was sort of doing the standard modern rock band thing where female fronted band, we were doing, Natalie Imbruglia and what else? Edie Brickell and all those things. And I had a friend, his name's Eric Klein, and he fronted a band called UUU, which was the biggest party band, cover band of the East Coast, pretty much. And he and I were actually really good friends. And he came up and saw me singing. I'll never forget. He said these fateful words to me. He's like, "You should be doing the guy songs too."
Yeah.
And I just had never thought of that. And then started doing that. And I was like, well, wait a second. I'm actually pretty good at that. And why would I want to sing it like a girl? I want to sing it as accurately as possible. And I still think of it that way. Why would I want to sing it like a girl? I would want to sing it, however, if it is a girl, I want to sing it like the girl sings it. If it's a guy, I want to sing it like the guy sings it. So, we started a band called Juiced, and I was able to, we had a female bass player that we were up front, and so it was a pretty exciting, awesome thing. We got a lot of attention, but
I think that's kind of a unique talent and skill that you can kind of capitalize on. It's funny that you mentioned, if I can sound like the person, I should try to sound like the person, because that's how we looked at ours. And that's how I approached the other bands I was in, because I was always the front man and the singer. And I was kind of like, the guitar player's kind of trying to nail the tone and the sound of the guitar from the original song. The drummer's trying to get the pattern. The keyboard player's trying to get the patches right. They're all trying to when you're in a cover band, they're all trying to replicate the real song. But I always felt like the singer gets left off the hook because they can stylize it and make it any way. They make it theirs. And I'm like, but it isn't yours. It's somebody else. It's Natalie Imbruglia. It's, it's Alanis Morissette. It's David Bowie or whatever artist you might be doing.
Right.
If you're covering it, try to cover it. So,
right.
I would try to get Van Halen. I would try to get David Lee Roth. I would try to get, we were doing it up until, Bruno Mars and Justin Timberlake. I was doing a straight up cover band.
Sure.
And so I'm trying to get the pop sound, the R&B sound, the rock sound. And then Huey Lewis became one of those things that's just kind of who I sounded like in the most natural sense. And so that's how our thing happened. But I totally appreciate what you're saying, that plus it's a way to kind of market yourself, and you have a niche and you have a brand that other bands don't have, in the sense that, man, this girl, she sounds like these people, or she's at least getting like their style and their vibe. I think that's huge.
Yeah, I mean, there's, you can go into the stylistic thing, say with, Zach De La Rocha. I mean, there's, countless videos out there of people making fun of, it's like, here's how to do a Rage Against the Machine song,
Right.
And then make sure that you're screaming like this and you lisp, make sure you get the lisp. But it's more about the feel and the energy, and just like you were saying before, Khadejhia, when she's playing and when she's learning songs, she pays attention to
Yeah.
everything, which I respect so much because I'm obsessive compulsive too, like that. But she's got, you know, she pays attention to the tone and making sure that, you know, okay, we need a kill switch for that, so got to get,
Right.
make sure that that's there, and okay, and what am I using to play this? Because you can't just use a pick and you can't just use your fingers, and how am I doing this stylistically? And I think, you know, when you have musicians that are taking that time to hone their own craft on their own, and also not only get better at what they're doing as a musician, but take the time to because we're doing it, mimic somebody else's style,
Yeah.
but also incorporate, you know, you learn things from other musicians by copying them and paying attention to what they're doing and how you're doing, and you incorporate a lot of yourself into it. But to me, when it comes time for tributes, you do need to definitely pay homage, as it were, to the artists that you're making they're making money off of.
I don't even before I was ever in a tribute, I never looked down on that tribute genre. I never looked down. I remember I'm old enough to remember Elvis impersonators, you know, and the Beatles tribute when that was just getting off the ground, and we're talking, you know, late 70s, early 80s. Rain was the big one, and now there's the Fab Four, and those were basically the Elvis ones got pretty kitschy and schlocky and gimmicky. They all decided to be the fat, you know, jumpsuit Elvis, but there was a few guys out there that were doing the young rockin' Elvis, and I was always impressed with impersonators.
Yes,
and Vegas has theaters devoted to impersonators. And they're doing amazing, you know, renditions of Barbra Streisand or Marilyn Monroe or Whitney Houston, now Michael Jackson. You know, there's a Prince tribute that happens in Vegas on a nightly basis. He's insane. He's so good. So I've always had a respect for it, and I think it's great that Khadejhia is even putting that kind of effort into the guitar parts of it. So she's here, she's on a mic, she's on a camera. So Khadejhia, tell us about you, where you're from, and how you got involved in this band.
Well, I'm from Oakland, California. And I moved up here down here to go, I'm in Hollywood now, to go to music school and pursue a music career. So that's what I did. I graduated in like 2016, and ever since I've just been taking gigs where I can get them and kind of building a reputation for myself, and slowly on that way to becoming like a professional guitarist was my goal. So that's where I am now. I'm in a few bands, a few tribute bands, a cover band, and an original band, and all kinds of stuff like that. Carrie and I had worked together in another project before called 9 Inch Heels, which was a 9 Inch Nails tribute.
All female.
Yeah,
Sure,
all female.
We still have to pull that one back out.
Yeah, at some point. That one never quite got together, but me and Carrie stayed in touch. And so when she was thinking of a new band to start, she texted me and asked if I wanted to be her Morello in this Babes Against the Machine band. We didn't have the name yet, but an all-female Rage Against the Machine tribute. And pretty much immediately said yes, because Tom Morello's been one of my favorite guitarists since I've been playing guitar. Well, since I discovered them when I was 14, probably. So yeah, I've loved Tom Morello.
And I hope none of this, anything we talk about, comes off as me sounding like I'm overly surprised, or I'm overly, certainly don't want to come off as sounding sexist. But, you know, when a girl is shredding and playing like you are, it kind of makes me want to ask, how did you get into that? How did you get into playing? How did you get into playing that? And then we'll get into why it's Rage. But what made you get into kind of that style of guitar?
Well, I started with classical guitar, and
wow.
I did that for 2 years when I was like 8. That's just what I started with. And that got old quickly because I wasn't listening to any classical guitar music or anything.
It's not relatable. You're not feeling it. Yeah,
exactly. It did really help with my technique and
Sure.
everything, especially when I started playing bass too. I also play bass. So, eventually I wanted to get more into the kind of music I was listening to. And my parents met in a mosh pit. So when I was growing up, I wasn't listening to like Led Zeppelin or I don't know, things like that. I was listening to a lot of like Social Distortion and Pixies and Violent Femmes and Alanis Morissette and like, the best bands of the 90s.
Sure. Yeah. The edgier, but the more interesting, quite honestly.
Exactly. Yeah.
I gotcha. So guitar is your primary instrument guitar?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been playing since I was 8. So
that's amazing. Okay. So when did this band start, and what made you pick Rage to be the tribute?
I'll be diplomatic. It was the day after, a couple days after Roe v. Wade. Khadejhia and I were both at at the Women's March downtown in Los Angeles, and there was a couple concerts going on that day. But I just remember one of the singers was doing Killing in the Name, and at that moment we were both, I mean, it was a really it was a messed up time because the decision had just been overturned, and there was a women's rights group that was there too, and handing out bandanas, and people were talking, and I even shared my own stories and experiences too. So it was kind of like pretty emotional and charged overall. Mm-hmm. And I just remember, I'll be honest to this. Like I had been speaking with somebody about the potential of singing something, and it was sort of dangled and yanked back. And so I was pissy about it. Let's be real. You're always going to get real with me, so whatever. So,
no, I love it.
That's so I was a little salty. I'm not going to lie. And so then when I saw Killing in the Name being performed, pretty not ragey.
Yeah.
I was pissed.
Yeah, I gotcha.
If that's, I mean, I was never like a major, oh my God, Rage Against the Machine, this is my band. It's like I've performed Rage Against the Machine for years, back in Pennsylvania, and out here in cover bands doing whatever, but that's a song you don't fuck with. You can't half-ass that song. You just can't. It resonates with so many people for so many different reasons.
Especially at a time when we were all so angry.
I'm hearing that. It's like it was already, everything was everything was just right there bubbling, and then this version was letting you down in a sense, and it wasn't expressing what you were feeling.
Well said.
Oh, well,
very well said. Yeah,
very well said. And I just kind of leaned over to her and said, Rage Against the Machine tribute band. And she's like,
let's do this the way it's supposed to be done, kind of thing.
Within a day and a half, I had we were in 9 Inch Heels at that point and still trying to put that together and getting a whole bunch of stuff done. And so within a day and a half, we had the band members initially and the first logo, and the name. And it was kind of just was like, yeah, this makes sense. And just kind of went out of the gate running with it. And just, it was interesting because I tend to overthink everything. So it's just sort of my nature of things. So I'm always very cognizant of the fact that I'm a privileged white woman singing songs about the plights of people of color and of cultures that had to struggle to get the bare minimum, even to this day. And I didn't want to just be half-assing anything while I'm basically taking people's money, coming in, getting accolades, getting, oh, you guys rock, that's great. But if I'm not doing it right, don't do it. I have no business doing it. But learning rage songs, it's like, oh, you get history lessons. Oh, shit. I didn't know about that. They didn't teach me this in school. And, and I think even, in the last, say, 5 years, we've really it's been coming to sort of the mainstream of the fact, a lot of people knew this fact, for years, you're not learning the right things in school, and American history is not American history. It's very whitewashed, very, rigid. We're going to make America sound like the best country in the world, no matter what. And of course, we're the good guys. And oh no, everybody was very happy here, even though they were slaves. They enjoyed it. They were so much better off, So we, just stuff like, why are we learning about Tulsa from watching Watchmen on HBO?
Right.
It's like, how many. I never learned about the frickin' Tulsa massacres, and it's massacres. You obliterate an entire town just because you're upset that Black people are thriving and having something of their own. And we never learned of that. I had to learn, why am I learning about Japanese internment camps? Because George Takei tells me about them, not because I'm learning them in my history books. And so it's interesting because, I had never really gone into depth with a whole bunch of stuff, but learning about, what is the Zoot Suit Riot? Well, it's not a Cherry Poppin' Daddies song. It's actually, this is, they're cheerful and, scoffing it up to it, but doing your swing, but it's, bloodshed and police cracking down on people just wanting to have lives. And I get to learn about all this stuff. And so both Khadejhia and I are pretty outspoken and pretty strong in our views, I would say. We don't, she and I don't necessarily agree on everything, but we both really are very outspoken about what we do care about. And, it's a platform. It's a very rare opportunity to have a platform. So instead of just doing, 10 rage songs a night or whatever for 45 minutes, we're actually doing it right. We're not going on, oh, we're cute and all girls and we're going to do rage.
So
girls on parade.
Right, I gotcha. So the impetus for this was, it was a combination of obviously the event you were at and the culture of what was going on, and then the specific song being played at that specific moment is what lit the spark, and then that's what kind of just moved it in the direction of rage. But what it sounds like is what's kind of happened is, you guys have realized this is also kind of a mouthpiece for us. This is a way for us to get this out there. Yeah, it's other people's songs, but the feeling is genuine, the inspiration is genuine, the motivation behind playing these songs is genuine. And so there's as much of almost a need to play the songs as there is a marketing reason to be an all-girl tribute to Rage Against the Machine.
Sure. I mean, let's be real. The all-girl thing sells, but I would, I've said it pretty vocally before. I'm not going to play with girls just for the sake of playing with girls, because I want to play with the best musicians that I can play with, because
Sure.
Let's face it, I'm selfish. But, to me, it's so much, it's more than the shtick. It's very easy to just rest on your laurels of, oh, okay, we're four girls, and we're going out and doing Rage passably well. And yeah, we've all seen plenty of, all-female tributes that do that. And there's a market for that too. And that's great. And let them do that. I think there's a bit more responsibility when it comes to a Rage Against the Machine song, though. I mean, there's...
You know what? If you don't mind, I think it feels like this is a good moment to just kind of watch you guys a little bit. And so if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and start your promo video.
Cool.
And for those of you that aren't watching... Yeah, I know. Here, let's go to the clip, like they say on TV. So for those of you that aren't watching, we're going to cut to their promo video. For those of you that are only listening on Spotify or one of the audio apps, I'd love for you guys to go to the YouTube channel and actually watch these things, because these are really important to watch too. So let's go to the clip, and we'll talk about it when we get back.
You do what? Who controls the present now? What? Let's testify! He was a body of Hoover. Won't give you a dose, but I can never propose to me. Built up inside of me. Come on, it's in the air.
There you go. Babes Against the Machine.
You see Robert and George in there?
I did see Robert and George in there. Yeah.
Our friend Robert just passed away. It sucks.
Oh,
it sucks.
Yeah.
He was always in the front row at our concerts.
Oh man.
Here I am tearing up inside.
I am very sorry to hear that.
Your fans get an emotional moment.
Oh, I mean, it's funny because when you were talking about, what inspired you to start this particular tribute, and as you were explaining it, and you were kind of going over, what the songs are about and what they mean and the culture that they're being sung in, it's like you guys it feels like you feel a responsibility on the songs. You feel a responsibility to play the songs well, play them accurately, not just respect Rage, but respect what the songs are about and respect what they're speaking to. So it's kind of like you've added, I mean, look, let's face it, most of my tribute acts, and that's why I was really interested when I started the introduction. I was really interested to talk to you two, because every band I've talked to is more in that big pop genre. We've talked
Right.
to Elton John. We've talked to, Pat Benatar, Billy Joel. We did one with my band, Huey Lewis and the News, which is not the heaviest, deepest band in the world. But, it's big pop band.
Hey, they slap. I don't want to hear it.
Oh no, I'm a huge Huey Lewis fan.
Eighth row for the sports tour.
Oh, there you go. Look
Pittsburgh,
at you. That's
Pennsylvania.
Awesome.
So
Awesome. Love it. So what you're doing is it's different. You're not doing big mainstream crossover pop bands. I mean, Nine Inch Nails isn't either. I was a huge Nine Inch Nails fan. Loved Nine Inch Nails. I'll be very, very honest. I didn't super get into Rage Against the Machine, but what you're doing is it's different. It's hard. It's more edgy. So I guess what I want to ask you about is what's kind of the plan? How do you see this developing? I don't think it would be rude to say I don't think you'll be playing at a casino anytime soon unless they're doing a very specific type thing. Really?
Bite your tongue.
All right. Hey, shoot. Set me straight.
There's plenty of there's actually plenty of Rage tributes and heavy band tributes that are doing the casino circuit. Yeah, we're not going to be playing likely the city of Cerritos anytime soon on fun, family friendly night. But which I find ironic, and because we're talking tribute to tribute, about tributes, for tributes, listening to by tributes, there's really nothing that is in any given Rage Against the Machine song that's offensive.
Right.
Compared to modern day pop song standards or modern day hip hop. There's, you're learning history. You're just learning it a little angrily. But if you look at some of the bands that do get to play the Fun Family Festival, thank you, City of Blank, I can think of quite a few, right off the top that, wow, they're singing that. And do you realize that that's, a song with the word, another word for sex in the title, and the children are singing along with it at the top of their lungs. And,
for instance, I'm in like an AC/DC tribute, and we are way more likely.
Tell them about it.
We're called Her Way to Hell. We're an all-female AC/DC tribute. But we are so much more likely to get booked at the city of Cerritos, family fun friendly, even though almost every single AC/DC song is about sex.
Right. I did a Catholic church festival with an Aerosmith tribute, and they're doing, Love in an Elevator, and dude looks like a lady, and I'm like, I mean, they're not overly graphic songs, but I'm like, but this is a Catholic church fundraising kind of thing, and there's a whole circuit of those things, and I'm kind of going, that's pretty funny that they don't even realize what these bands are singing about,
Yeah.
You're right though. It's the anger and the edge, not the lyrics. It's the way it's played, not what's said necessarily. Because like you're saying, what's said is more knowledge than it is. It's not graphic. It's knowledge.
No, it's absolutely.
And so, I mean, even, Nine Inch Nails, there's, look, if you're going to be Taylor Swift, you're going to appeal to a huge amount of people.
That's correct.
If you're going to be, somebody more on the ancillary, and maybe even use, I don't know, for somebody mainstream, Pink doesn't translate to as many people as Taylor Swift does. It starts to move a tad niche. Not she's still mainstream, but you know what I mean? Is there's a different market that will like one versus the other. It may not always cross over. So you guys are doing something that, for lack of a better way of putting it, doesn't super cross over to a lot of those mainstream kind of things. So for better or for worse, you obviously kind of knew that going in. You knew you weren't going to do those summer family, outdoor concerts. So And that's why I wanted to have you guys on, because a lot of my episodes are geared towards.
Because he felt bad for us.
No. Actually, I want to have you on because I know it'll be an encouragement for those sublime kind of tributes and those other types of tributes that are not super mainstream. And
Right.
where do you carve out your niche, and where do you find your where are you playing? What kind of gigs are you doing? What is your goal for a band like this, a tribute like this?
It's a great question, and one I'm sure that booking agents all over the world are asking themselves. So thanks for reminding them how niche we are.
Hey, for
Really
what it's
appreciate
worth,
that.
when we started Huey Lewis the News, I Googled Huey tributes. There were none in the country. And some people may say, oh, well, that's cool, you'll be the only one. And my thinking was, well, this must not sell well. Nobody's going to book this band because they're not considered cool. They're not hard or edgy. So on that level, we all have those little challenges.
Well, sure. And if you want to say, okay, I'm going to make money being in a tribute band, and I'm going to make this a business, I'm going to make this my sole source of income, what you do is, obviously, as you well know, you go to Google and you find who are the top 20 drawing bands, concert wise, who are the top sellers, boom, 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 boom. And I go, okay, maybe, I couldn't imagine doing that, and I'd be miserable. I would rather play weddings. Right. Because at least I get a variety of those songs instead of having to sing, all of that all night. And,
So where do you find your lane?
Well, for me, Christ, I would love to just have a whole stable of bands that almost made it well. Like I love Jane's Addiction. I want a Jane's Addiction tribute band. I love Filter. I want a Filter tribute band. I have had a Faith No More tribute band. Yep. It's like I've had 2 of them, as a matter of fact. So it's just like I get those. I like the almost bands, but that's been me. I've been the one that was made fun of. What are you listening to? Ew! Until people catch up and then go, oh, 9 Inch Nails. Khadejhia got to hear 9 Inch Nails at a very young age. She has video of her mom singing Head Like a Hole, as a lullaby to her. She's a baby. She's cradling Khadejhia as a baby and singing Head Like a Hole.
Oh, it was programmed into you. It's in your DNA now.
It's true. It's true.
But
it's a great song. That to me is a classic. That's a classic tune. That's a great song.
A classic tune. So, but again, none of those bands are City of Cerritos bands.
Right.
So what do? You pretty much do, well, my idea is what we did actually last week. We played at the Gas Lamp down in Long Beach, opening for the Iron Maidens, who are another hard rock band. I wouldn't say as niche as us, obviously, but that's not going to be a City of Cerritos band either. Even though there's nothing, there's nothing offensive about their lyrics, that's still a little heavy. And make no mistake, those are 4 incredible, incredible musicians who shred. And I'll put them up. I don't care if you're male or female. They're
bucket list guests for me. I want to get them on because they're doing it the height. They're doing it well.
And they're rad. And we were really glad to be able to share the stage with them. We knew most of them off stage for a long time. And what do I want? I want to have much as the Maidens tour nationally and internationally. Feel free to steal my idea, booking agents, and take it, because it would save me a lot of time to actually just do the stuff that I want to do, which is perform.
Right.
But I want, the female monsters of rock. I want say put Highway to Hell together, put Motor Babe together, which is our drummer's all-female Motorhead tribute. Put Babes Against the Machine. Put Priss, which is an all-female Kiss tribute. Put Alice in Chains, like things like that. Put 4 of those together. Put
I
far
literally was
beyond Hostile, female fronted Pantera, 3 out of 4.
Mondays are my days to record these episodes, and I was literally doing an episode with a previous guest and talk about this exact same thing. All these agents that have this roster that they love to show on their websites, and I'm going, why don't you take 4 or 5 of them that are all similar and put a tour together and market that thing around the country?
You would be shocked.
And none of them do.
Because you would be shocked at the ideas that I come up with that seem no-brainers. That I get the responses, yeah, that would be a good pairing.
It's funny because I'm kind of because I want to go. Don't you do this? Isn't this what you do? This is the story of my life. I've never wanted to be a booking agent because I hate people. I mean, I didn't say that. I mean, I hate cold calling people. Yeah.
I really don't like the hustle. I don't like the sell. I just want to rock and roll. And we're at a point where I'm having to hound promoters down, and I'm East Coast. So what that means is we have integrity. I showed up like a nerd half an hour before scheduled time because that's what I do. We show up on time, say exactly what you mean, follow through with what you do. I came out here and met, me and going fast-paced A-type personality was met quickly with, whoa, dude, chill out. Things are going to happen as they're supposed to happen. You're way high-strung. You need to relax. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Stuff gets done because I make it happen.
Do you feel like you get that kind of, I'm sorry to cut you there, but do you feel like you get that because you are a girl band, you're a female band, that they're kind of like, man, you need to not be so aggressive when the dude is like, they're like, that dude's really going after it. But with a girl, it's like, you're being really aggressive.
Khadejhia knows the answer to this too.
Was that an obvious one? Was that pretty much? Well, yeah, dude. Yeah, that's the way it works. That's what happens. I hate when you have women go, it's because I'm a woman. Because we've even dealt with that with past band members throwing that shit at us. Mm-hmm. And we're like, we're women, remember? And you've had female band members pull the "it's because I'm a woman" card on you guys. We've
gotten the "it's because I'm a blank." Insert the name, whatever with us. That too, but it's so I'm not really necessarily a fan of that, and I'll own my shit real quickly. So, I don't like making excuses, and I don't like making lame excuses. So if there's stuff that I can personally fix, or if, as a band we can personally fix, I try that's my thing. I like solving problems before they become problems, but not getting emails answered timely. Yeah. Because I'm not represented by one of the major booking agents, but you know what? Guess what? A lot of the major booking agencies, they're going to be like, well, you guys don't look like Rage Against the Machine. Well, I'm not going to culturally appropriate and put dreadlocks in my hair, or put on an Afro wig to appease, and that's not who I want to be anyways. It's like we're not.
There's plenty of bands out there. One of the biggest tributes out there doesn't look anything like the band they tribute. So,
which one? It's like a lot of them.
Yeah, well, and you know what? It's not a slight on them because they're an amazing tribute band. But DSB, Journey.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They don't. Juan makes no attempt to look like Steve Perry, and he's never had to. He sounds like him, but he doesn't look like him.
But at the same time, you had Arnel Pineda, who looked nothing like Steve Perry, and he also realized I couldn't stand there like Steve Perry. I need to be me and jump all over this stage and run around. And he took Journey himself to an elevated level.
But I only bring it up to kind of say it doesn't seem to be an obstacle when the band is good at what they do. And it sounds like it's an interesting that they threw it up as an obstacle that you don't happen to look like. It's like, well, one, we're females. So we can only look so much like the real band.
Right.
When we started, our drummer was black, and Huey Lewis is one of the whitest bands there is. So, you know, I mean, it is what it is, you know? It's just funny because I feel like obstacles get thrown up because you are who you are, and maybe because you're playing what you're playing. It's like, why don't you be Joan Jett? Why don't you be Pat Benatar? Why don't you be something more that fits what we can now? Well, I guess in a sense, I want to defend in a weird way the agents because they're like, because I can sell that.
And you just nailed it. It's what can I sell?
Right.
And I think, and let's be real, I've worked with agents and managers since 1997 myself, which is still way early in the game. But I'm still fairly young, so that's been a long time for me. They're not in the business necessarily because they love money, and neither are bar owners. Let's be real. My job is to sell beer.
Sure.
That's it. That's all we do. Khadejhia and I sell beer. It's
no, but that's good that you understand that is what your role is.
That's the concept. And bar owners like bands, but they're figuring it out as well as anybody else is. A lot of it, it's we're going to throw a bunch of spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks and see what works. And I really like this band, but you guys don't draw as much as this, or they don't. I love that band, and man, I would love to book them, but I just know that they don't draw, and the guys that come out to see them, it's not. You don't get a lot of girls coming out to see them. For me, and getting back to why don't you have the 4 super heavy, not even super heavy, but 4 heavy but really good female tribute bands together as a package, going to South America, going to Japan, going to Europe, where they are so passionate about music.
Yeah.
Now
they eat that stuff up.
But you are running into the same problems overseas as you are here with, we've got this Journey tribute that plays every 3 months, and we're comfortable with them, and we don't want to try anything new because we know that it's going to pack.
Right.
And there's a time to pick your battles, and you don't use the woman card for that because it's a numbers game, and people, like I said, bar owners are in it to make money, and I completely respect that. And it's like, and not necessarily, I'm a big fan of, no doesn't mean no always, but no means no until I need you.
No, you're 100% right. And you know what? That really kind of does apply across the board, because we run into the exact same thing. If a venue has 4 nights they got to fill, and they've got 5 bands to pick from, and we're one of them, we're not getting that gig. If the other ones are Journey, Stones, Queen, Elton John kind of thing, they're gonna pick them, and they're not gonna pick us. So, and we're all guys, so that's not that's a marketing. And like I said, I don't fault them in the sense, because I know that they're looking to they got to fill their night. Yeah. A bar band has to sell drinks. A performing arts center or a theater band has to sell tickets. Sure. And if you're not selling enough tickets, you're not getting asked back. And
that's
so
the bottom line.
We've been on every side of that angle. So, and there's places we do better, and there's places we don't. And there's places we know we're going to sell well, and there's places we know we're not going to sell well at all, and we're never going to be asked back. And it's got nothing to do with, it's got nothing to do with our chromosomes. It's just got to do with green.
Sure, and it has nothing to do with your talent, I'm sure. I'm sure you guys absolutely crush. It's just how, and that's, a thing in with itself. I'm constantly talking with other bands. Into a lot of Instagram because, I try to get out as much as possible
Sure.
and go see other bands.
Yeah, we're all
and go
busy.
visit, but, I'm pretty damn transparent because I want to change. I want to change the game. I want to take more of the power. So bars, well, it's not even bars necessarily. A lot of well, yeah, there's some bars and there's some booking agents and whatnot that want to pit bands against each other. And no, I'm not playing that because, yeah, there are 4 other Rage Against the Machine tributes in the greater Los Angeles area. Now, we are one of the newest.
Mm-hmm.
And we regularly, I'll name them by name because, they're great friends of ours. Renegades of Rage, it's the best one out there. They've been doing it for 10 years, so they better be freaking amazing.
Yeah.
They're great. They're the goods. I go up on stage and rock out with Johnny and have a good time. Johnny just came out and hung out with us all night at the District, came out and rocked out with us. We each talk about money. We each talk about, that place ain't so good. You guys might not want to check that out. This place was actually good to us. Here's such and such the contact. We do that, talk to, Know Your Enemy, that's, another band. And it's, have what else? Rage Again. But, and there's going to be bars out there that are going to be like, we've got our tributes. I don't snipe. That's my thing. It's like, if you're established somewhere, I'm not necessarily interested in sniping. I'll let agents worry about that kind of stuff. That way it's not me that's trying to get in. You've got your territory, and that's the thing. You worked hard for it, you get it. But we are new and we're different. And the fact is what is it that you're going to get when you book us? Is it just Rage Against the Machine but done by 4 females? I'd like to think not. I don't think Khadejhia would think that it's just another Rage show. The energy's very different. We engage with our fans a lot. I'm talking about current events that happen and showing pictures on stage about, people who have been, I've spoken about victims of, police brutality who were killed because they, there's not enough mental health awareness. So, officers who are very quick on the draw that are acting out of impulse instead of using their heads, unfortunately. We bring stuff up like that. We bring different topics to light, LGBTQ awareness, women's rights, things that are in the news every day. And to me, it's issues that affect us. So yeah, we get a platform. That's the cool thing about what we do. Yeah, we're doing songs, but we also get to talk about what's going on that actually affects us.
I really appreciate what you're doing. We are going to have to wrap this episode up, but I would love to stay in touch with you. I'd love to be more in tune with the future things you got going on, more shows, because like I said, our show usually talks to the big pop bands, but I definitely want to stay involved with the bands that are not that. And it's not that you're lesser. You're doing this more out of the look. I do Huey Lewis the News because I look like and sound like Huey Lewis when I'm on stage. You don't look like.
Says who? I resent that. You're saying that to me because I'm a woman.
You don't look like Zach. You don't look like Tom. But the thing is what you're doing is it's coming from more of an organic. This is something we need to do. This is something we need to play. These are songs we need to put out there. So I'm not minimizing what we do, and I'm not maximizing what you do. I think what it is it's coming from a different motivation, and I so appreciate it. And you just freaking shred. You guys all kick ass, man. I mean, you're just, from a band standpoint, you're killing it. So
No, thanks.
I appreciate what you're doing very much. So I thank you for being on. I hope we can do another episode at some point, follow up and kind of see how things are going. I think this is very encouraging for other bands like you, whether it's either a female band or just an alternative type of band. Somebody that is not the absolute mainstream top 40 kind of band. I think there's an absolute need and a market. And I think you nailed it when you said, put these together and create tours of multiple bands. I think that is the way to get this out there more than any way.
I completely agree. And, honestly, I wouldn't worry about, is this sellable or not? Because if you resonate with even one or two people in the audience that are like, oh my God, this is what got me through high school. This is, you've been in this business for long enough. We do it in our cover bands. We do it in our tribute bands. We do it with our original music. We do it with all this stuff. If you can connect with your audience and just, even if they're saying, I had the worst week and this is exactly what I needed, it's worthwhile. Do I care about, missing out on a $25,000, cruise boat, 80s, 80s, sexy seniors cruise? Oh no, the rage.
Hey, don't knock the sexy seniors cruise, man. No, those people get busy.
Well, and I cannot wait for 9 Inch Heels to hit that when we sing Closer and we sing I Want to Fuck You Like an Animal.
You give it another 10, 15 years, and that is your senior cruise.
Well,
people that grew up with Rage Against the Machine, 9 Inch Nails, and
we're going to be sponsored by Pfizer and have the Viagra to hand out at every show, and it's going to be awesome. But no, it's like...
At some point, it's all oldies. At some point, it's all oldies.
That's exactly right. I'm here for that.
Oh, man. Well, you two have been a blast. Carrie, Khadejhia, thanks so much for being on the show. I really appreciate you taking the time, and we will talk again soon, I'm sure. Everybody, check them out. It is babesagainstthemachine.tribute.com, right?
Indeed.
And on all the social media, you'll find it at Babes Against the Machine Tribute. So thanks again for being here. We really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your week. You got it. We'll stay in touch. Thanks. That'll do it for today's show. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Really means a lot to me. If you are interested in being a guest on the show, email me at roger@tributebandpodcast.com. Or if you have questions for future guests, you can email me as well. We'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for watching the Ultimate Tribute Band Podcast. Please like, subscribe, share, tell somebody about it. Talk to you soon.